Today we're going to use what we know about slopes, the stuff from yesterday, and we should be able to write equations. So today's warm-up, we're going to try to find the slope between 2 points. So that's between -1, 2, and 12, -5. So let's do that first. Put it in a a table. I have -1 and 2, 12, -5. I find the difference in the horizontal direction, which is a positive, you can't see it anymore, but it's a positive 13, and here it's a -7. So my slope here is -7 divided by 13. Remember, it's rise over run. Then what we have to do is find the slope from an equation. This is slope-intercept form. All I have to do is find the number that's attached to my x, and that's my slope, 3/2. From a graph, what I should do is find two very distinct points. So here and here will do. Okay. Notice how the rise goes up 1, up 2, and my run goes over 1. So my slope is just 2. Writing the equation, our goals for today is to write an equation given a table, 2 points, slope and a point, and using x and y intercepts. If we want to find the slope of a line, we have to find the change in the horizontal direction and the change in the vertical direction. The change in the horizontal direction, there were numbers here. I take -16 and -11, I subtract them, and I get +5. I do the same thing here, and I get +5. So that's my change in the x direction. My change in the y direction, I have 23 to 34, I get a +11, and from 45 to 34, I get a +11. So the slope of this table is the change in y over the change in x, so that's 11 divided by 5. How do you find the equation of these points, though? So I need to find the slope. The slope is my change in the x and my change in the y. This is a +2. This is a +6, and a +6, a +2. So my slope should be 6 plus 6, so that's change in y over the change in x, which is 3. And then it says I use point slope form, which is this equation. You remember this from algebra. I plug in the slope and any one of these points that I want, and then I solve for y. So let's go through it. Remember, we said our slope was 3, which x and y should I use? It doesn't really matter, we can just pick one. I'm going to choose -1 as my x and 4 as my y. Is that what they did? So now I just plug it in. My slope here is 3, and my 2 points is 4 and -1. And then I gotta solve for y, so I'm gonna do some algebra. First thing I do is distribute, so 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 1 is 3. I have to move the 4 to the other side, so I have to add 4, and now I have y equals 3x plus 7. Using the H-chart method, it's the same thing you learned in algebra, so I have a +1 and a +1, +4 and +4. So my slope should be m equals 4 divided by 1, which is the same as 4. Now, what I'm going to do is set y equal to 0 equals my slope, which is 4, times x. I'm sorry, that's not, my y is 4, sorry. My slope is 4 and my x is 0, so I need to figure out what the b term is. So this goes to 0. That means it looks like b is 4. Let's double check that that's true. Again, I plug in my slope, which is 4. My x is 1, plus something should give me 8. 4 plus something gives me 8. Well, I know it's 4. One more time. So if I have my slope, which is 4, my x is 2, plus something gives me 12. 4 times 2 is 8, plus that something gives me 12, and I know it's 4. So my equation is y equals my slope, x, plus 4. Let's try it again. So my difference here is plus 1 and plus 1 and minus 2 and minus 2. So that means my slope, I can say, is negative 2 divided by 1, which is negative 2. Now I use this H chart, so I have a slope of negative 2. My x is 0, plus something gives me 13. So this goes to 0, so something equals 13. Well, I'm pretty sure that 13 equals 13. Let's do it one more time. So I have my slope, which is negative 2, my x, which is 1, plus something gives me 11. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus something gives me 11, and I know the something should also be 13. I'm going to take the slope, which is negative 2, my x, which is 2, plus something gives me 9. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus something gives me 9. Well, I know it's 13. So my equation is y equals my slope, which is negative 2, x plus 13. So with 2 points, I'm going to try to use the H chart method. I put it in this thing. Okay, I have negative 2, negative 1, 4, 11. Okay. Alright, now I need to find the difference here, which is plus 6, and the difference here, which is plus 12. Okay, now I know my slope is 12 divided by 6, which is 2. I need to put it in this form. So that means I know that my slope is 2, my x is negative 2, plus something gives me negative 1. Well, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, plus something gives me negative 1. I'm pretty sure that the answer should be negative 4 plus 3 gives me negative 1. So it looks like my b term is going to be negative 1. I'm sorry, 3. 3. Do it again. So my slope is 2, my x is 4, plus something gives me 11. 2 times 4 is 8, plus something gives me 11, so this should be a 3, and I was right. So my equation is y equals my slope times x plus 3. Okay, one more time. So I have negative 5, 0, 7, 12. My difference here is positive 12. My difference here is positive 12. So my slope should be 12 divided by 12, which is 1. I plug in this equation. 1 times my x is negative 5 plus something gives me 0. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5 plus that something gives me 0. And this looks like it could be a 5. So my b term must be a 5 so far. I do it again. My slope is 1. My x is 7 plus that something gives me 12. This is 7 plus blank gives me 12. And it looks like it still is going to be a 5. So my equation is y equals the slope, which is 1, times x plus 5. Practice makes perfect. So what if they give you the slope and a point? Okay. Here I have the slope as 3 and I have a point, so we need to find the b term, right? I plug into my equation. I know that x is 2, my slope is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. It's supposed to equal 7, so my b term should probably be a 1. Therefore my equation is y equals the slope times x plus 1. Same thing, I have a slope of 5 that goes in here. My x is negative 2. 5 times 2 is negative 10 equals 3 plus some blank. It looks like that blank is going to be a 13. So y equals 5x plus 13. What if they give you x and y intercepts? So they give me these intercepts. Now I need to figure out what the b term is. Well, we notice that I don't have a slope, but I can find one. And notice how when I have negative 2 as my x and y as my 0, then I couldn't find the slope, which is here is a positive 2, and here, which is a negative 3. So my slope is negative 3 divided by 2. I can plug it into this equation. 0 equals negative 3 over 2 times negative 2 plus b. Well, the 2's, negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6, divided by 2 is positive 3. So my b term should probably be a negative 3. I didn't write it out because there's not a lot of room, so let me try this one. The slope I know is negative 3 over 2 times 0 plus some blank gives me negative 3. Notice how this goes away because of the 0, so my blank should be negative 3. Therefore y is equal to negative 3 over 2 times x minus 3. And you can try this one and ask your teacher if you're doing it right.